Oh, hello. You there?
I'm here. Turn down whatever TV you have on in the background.
Can you turn the TV down, mother? No, I don't live with my parents. I'm just visiting. Hi.
Hey, Craig.
Man, Logan, that was a monster win.
Oh! I see what you did there. You've been sitting on that one, Craig. Sitting on that one.
I don't want to talk about the monster thing because I'll just get annoyed. But hey, Illinois wins 91-87. They beat Michigan in double overtime. Is this our first overtime game of the season? No, Texas.
Yes. There have been many. There have not been many for sure. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this is probably the second one.
Yeah. Illinois somehow gets it done. Up. What were they up? 11 in the second half. Michigan came back and obviously went to overtime, and then Michigan was up 7 in the first overtime, and Illinois came back and forced the second overtime, and then Illinois finally gained control and pulled away, or didn't really pull away, held on for a little. Thanks for joining us. That's Logan. I'm Craig. Follow us on all our social medias. They are on the page. If you're watching the YouTube, if you're listening to this later, they are in the description. You can find all that good stuff. And while you're here, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the channel. Season is quickly coming to an end. We only got a couple more shows left before we start back to our weekly shows or taking the summer off like we did last year, whatever. But like and subscribe. And tonight, get in the chat. We are live. So get in the comments, get in the chat. Let us know what you thought of the game and at what point you gave up, because it was about midway through the first overtime when I gave up. So let us know. How you feeling, Logan?
I'm doing great. Definitely have to credit my significant other. Allison kind of kept me in this thing a little bit. I was getting a little too negative, and she wanted to make sure that I was, still driving that positivity bus. Because you're right, there was the point, and I remember when they went down 5 points in the first overtime, and I'm like, all right, well, this is over. Because traditionally that's usually how these things work in overtime. You get down by 5, 6, 7 points, and it's over at that point. But it wasn't. They pulled back into it and took them 2 overtimes to do it, but they picked up the win. So I'm good. Thanks to her. I'm glad you're good. I'm glad you're here. Tell your family I said hello.
Logan says hi, everybody.
There you go. So great. I'm doing better now than I was an hour ago. So.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is like subconscious, but I go into every season thinking, 20 wins will be a good season. Likely get you to the tournament. Illinois got that tonight. They're 20-10, 11-8 in the conference. So looking back, at the end of the season, it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a tournament berth. Yeah. But given the expectations, it's probably still going to be disappointment unless you get a second weekend. Let's run through some of the stats here.
20 points is, that's the easy first benchmark. And they hit it. So, and let's be honest, I wasn't sure they were going to hit it. The way they had struggled the last few weeks. So I'm glad that they got there. So go on.
Going through the stats here, I lost it. Where'd it go? Matthew Meyer led the way, 24 points. Terrence Shannon, 21. RJ Melendez with 12. Nice jolt of life from RJ. Ty Rodgers with 14. No one else in double figures. 4 guys had 7 rebounds. Ty Rodgers, Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, and Coleman Hawkins. Excuse me. Only 9 assists as a team, but only 7 turnovers as well, which is a huge key. Illinois shot 42% from the field, 28% from 3, 76% from the free throw line, another positive. And we're only out rebounded by 1, 46 for Michigan rebounds, 45 rebounds for Illinois. Hunter Dickinson was great, 31 points, 16 rebounds. Illinois had no answer for him down low. I believe that's a career high in rebounds for him, but also 31 points. And then Kobe Buffkin had 23 for Michigan. And is that Jet Howard or is that Jace Howard?
Jet.
Which one is this? Jet, the freshman, had 15 for them as well. I thought the big difference was the 3-point shooting. I believe Illinois only took 12 threes, 8 in the first half, 4 in the second half. They took 12 threes in regulation and then 6 in overtime. I thought that was the big difference. They attacked, they got to the paint, and was scoring in the paint at will, and everything looked great. and then they kind of went off script a little in overtime and got behind and then got back on it. So I thought that was the key, just the change in the offensive game plan. And I don't know if that was because we should mention Jaden Epps is out with a concussion. He went down in practice. And then Sincere Harris took a knock during the game. He didn't play at all in the overtimes. I don't even think Illinois subbed in the overtimes.
No, he did come on the floor there a couple times. They were swapping back and forth.
Okay.
Offense for defense, him and Meyer, but it wasn't much.
Yeah, but that was the difference, the offensive game plan.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that was a good part of the second half, and that's really where I kind of felt like Illinois was really going to pull away from it. And then as you mentioned, they kind of let that slip past. But it was just nice to see they were really attacking the basket. They were going downhill. I mean that was there was more dunks in that stretch of time than we've seen outside of Kofi Coburn in decades.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just kind of fun to watch. They were little flying Illini action. Yeah, I think the point guard thing is obviously something here of note. Not that we had one really to begin with, but when the only thing you have that resembles a point guard isn't on the floor all game, things are going to look a little different. So there wasn't a lot of set plays to start this game. And yeah, they kind of toned down on the 3-pointers for a while. As you did mention, they did start chucking those up again eventually. Had Matt sank any of those 3 or 4 at the end, I would have felt a little better. But yeah, I mean, it was they hit threes when they had to. It was mostly Matt. Matt was the only
that's
one.
That's what I was going to get to when you were done. The only difference really is that Meyer and Shannon were the only 2 shooting threes.
Right. Yeah.
Meyer took 11, Shannon took 5, Melendez took 1 and made it.
Yep.
And Goody took 1. No, only 4 people shot threes. Coleman didn't take a 3. Sincere shouldn't. He's the only other one that would. But Melendez, Coleman, and Goody all combined for 2 3-point attempts. That's the difference right there.
Yeah. Coleman had chances, and you could tell he was wanting to do it, but he was taking advantage of the defense rising up with him and being able to attack the basket a little more too. So yeah, it was just nice to see attacking the basket more and not settling for all those threes, which they still shot plenty, but it wasn't as bad as it has been.
So we've talked all season about how if Illinois is going to do anything in the postseason, it's going to be because of the defense. It's going to be because of the defense.
Yeah.
So early in the game, it was the drop coverage that I hope I never have to see again. I'm so over it because they were hitting 2 pull-up jumper after pull-up jumper after pull-up jumper off that drop coverage ball screen. And then Michigan switched where they were isolating Hunter Dickinson in the post, and Illinois couldn't guard that. So what does Illinois need to do on the defensive end? I know they won the game, but they still, it's like they're always giving something up and making it easy for the opponent.
Yeah, that's what you run into with this team. I've been thinking about it a lot this season. We've talked about it a lot this season, just how different this team is compared to Illinois teams in the past. I don't really know what you do about it because it seems like every night Illinois has let somebody just absolutely go off on them. But I think Brad just wants to try to win the battles he can win. And I mean, they're good defensively, but they certainly still have their limitations. They don't have a great post defender. They're, that lead the country or whatever in block shots. But when it comes to defending the post, I mean, Monday or Sunday could be a struggle too, I'm sure, with Zach Edey. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. You just got to hope you have the matchups at this point to alleviate some of that because they've definitely found teams have found some weaknesses in Illinois' defense for sure.
So Terrence Shannon, 4 of 14 from the field. I believe he started 0 of 6 or 0 of 7, which leads me to our first chat here from Brant. One glaring issue with Shannon, 4 for 14, and lots of bad decisions, 0 of 5 from 3. He was getting to the paint. He just can't finish.
Yeah.
He just can't finish. He does absorb a lot of contact when he goes to the paint, and those are some tough shots, which I do think the refs did have some impact on the game tonight. I'm not going to harp on that, but I don't think the refs were the best tonight, and I think they were pretty one-sided. But could you imagine how good Terrence would be if he finished some of these? Now, he did start two. He had a huge and one.
I know.
When was that? Was that at the end? That was the end of the first overtime because he had the free throw to potentially win it that he missed. Yeah, he had the huge one there. But, yeah, if he just would finish at the rim, and I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if he's going too hard or what. But
I mean, some of them got deflected. Some of them, there might have been a block or two in there. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just him not finishing. I'm not sure what the answer is. You don't really know what you're going to get out of Terrence Shannon on a nightly basis. He is the best player on this team, but he is one of the least consistent. I mean, in all honesty, granted, you still got 20 points from him tonight, or 21 points from him tonight, but yeah, I mean, that was a rough stretch from him. 13 of his 21 points came from the free throw.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So he's going to do that. He's very good at that. But yeah, it'd be nice if he could connect on a few more of those. I don't want to necessarily call them layups. But when he's attacking the basket as well as he does, yeah, you would like to see him connect on a few more of those.
I wish I could find this. I don't know where it's at on the game stats, but at one point Jeremy Warner tweeted out that Illinois was 10 for 26 on layups. That is not a good percentage.
No, they missed a lot of them. They've done that a lot this year. They did that. That was the problem with the Indiana game too. They were missing layups right and left. I mean, this is not new for this team. This team can do a lot of things well, but they struggle at some of the fundamentals. And I know you love to talk about their basketball IQ, but some of it's just fundamental type things too.
Yeah. Our buddy Michael, loyal watcher, listener. Good thing I have a strong 65-year-old heart. Yeah. I'm 33 and I took a few years off of it today.
Same. Very much so.
Oh, he was drinking his Orange Crush as well. I hope you're meaning literally that you had a can of Orange Crush.
You should. That's a awesome. Great way to enjoy an Illinois basketball game.
Another loyal one, I think. Dwayne, I think he was the one that was in Philippines a couple weeks ago. Never should an exhausted player shoot a three-pointer while guarded by a 7-footer with 12 seconds to go and time on the shot clock, and you have a lead. Nonetheless, Shannon is the man. Meyer, too. That's kind of what you were just talking about. You never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
All right, we can talk about this, though. Michael, again, RJ was awesome.
Love it.
I know you love RJ Melendez. I'll let you take the floor here.
I'm just happy for him.
Yeah, I think we all are. Everyone should be.
They need it. They need. We know you're going to get points out of Shannon and Meyer. There's not going to always be the most consistency there, but we've talked about it. There's not a lot of scoring elsewhere on this team. You might have Coleman shine for a game. Maybe Dane is able to do something. We can talk about him shortly too. But the minutes and production you're getting from Ty Rodgers and RJ Melendez right now is huge. If this team is going to make any sort of noise in the tournament, you're going to need production from other guys, and it's probably going to have to be those two. So really love seeing that. I mean, those two combined for 26 points tonight, 26 points, 13 rebounds. As you said, RJ sank the only three he shot. And
I'm pretty sure I was vocally saying, no, not RJ, not RJ. Yes.
I did one of those as well. No, it's just nice to see. He struggled for a long time, and he's finally really starting to pick it up.
Just flashing us up there because yes, Illinois was -4, -4.5. Wherever you got the.
They're good. They know what they're doing.
Here's our Ty Rodgers. I am just so looking forward to hopefully 3 more years of Ty Rodgers after this because he is the most improved player from start of the season to finish.
Let me ask you this. I know we've talked about the point guard thing with this team, with or without Jaden Epps on the court.
Yeah.
There are times where I feel more comfortable with the ball in Ty Rodgers' hands than I do most of the players on the team. Not that I want him to score the basketball, but when it comes to being a facilitator and ball handler, I feel better about him having the ball in his hands than I do even Jaden most of the time. So he just does a lot of things, and he does a lot of things really well. If he can get a jump shot, he's gonna be a real problem in the Big Ten and have a real future ahead of him.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, he makes the right play. Sincere and Jaden are great basketball players, each in their own right. But I think mentally and understanding the playbook and the game, I think Ty Rodgers he might be the smartest basketball player on the team.
He might be
as a freshman, because we've seen what the other guys can bring. We'll touch on this a little bit. Refs were horrendous. Game should have never went to overtime. Illinois gets no calls at home. That's Jay, Michael. More bad calls or no calls than that. Those were big ones. And then where was the other one at? From Brant again. Michael, I try not to rip the refs, but the offensive goaltend by Hunter and the clean block by Hawkins called goaltend was a 4-point swing. Yeah, that's what I was touching on. Yep. The refs were not good tonight. And I had this thought early. The Big Ten hasn't had success in the postseason. Is it the refs' fault? I thought of that. Does the Big Ten dictate how the game is officiated, or does the NCAA dictate how the game is officiated across the country?
I think the Big Ten has some sort of effect on how their officials officiate their games. I think there's several things that go into this. I was having this discussion with somebody else this week. But I do think officiating is partially to blame for how Big Ten games get officiated. I don't know if it's necessarily just a Big Ten problem. I think officiating across the board in all sports and all levels is a problem. Let's just get that out of the way now. There aren't enough people out there that want to do it because fans are assholes. So I feel bad for that. That's the case, but that's what we're dealing with. You're just not always going to have the best people out there because people don't want to do it. People are retiring too early. They're getting paid more money to go be on TV or do something else. And it is what it is. But yeah, the officiating tonight was not particularly good. I do think it was fairly one-sided, although I think there were some calls that definitely went, both ways.
Which makes it even sweeter that Illinois won because the refs went against Illinois in the football version of this game. 2 more questions from Brant. Brant, thanks for getting in the chat here. A lot from Brant. 2 questions. 1, did we get lucky tonight? I don't know that lucky is the right word. I think it's Illinois escaped. I don't think it was luck.
No, I don't think it was lucky. This Michigan team is not great. Granted, they did come into this game as the second best team in the Big Ten according to record,
and out of the NCAA tournament.
Go figure. This conference.
Did Illinois just kill Michigan's NCAA tournament resume?
They probably, yeah. Unless they are able to squeak out a couple of games here at the end or in the tournament. Yeah, this conference stinks. I've been saying it for several days. Right. But I don't know if we got lucky. I don't think we got lucky tonight. I think that Illinois played a really complete game. It wasn't perfect. Michigan was fighting for their lives. And I think it was a well played basketball game all around. Some things you might have gotten lucky about, but I don't think the game result was out of luck.
And number 2 from Brant, what do you see the future of Danger this year? Seems to keep making mistakes and getting buried on the bench. Let's look real quick here. Dane Danger played 17 minutes, -7 and plus-minus. He did have 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 fouls, 4 of 7 from the field. He didn't play terribly, so I don't know what the deal was tonight. But, yeah, he did not see many minutes, if any, in the overtime frame. Did he play in the overtime? No minutes in overtime, and only 3 in the second half. So, yes, he got buried.
I think that it's certainly an issue. It's certainly something to be concerned about. I wonder if because of where Illinois sits in terms of Big Ten seeding and NCAA tournament seeding, if you don't see a lot of Dane Danger the rest of the season. Dane has proven to be a absolute destroyer of small schools and smaller opponents and smaller players. I don't know that you're going to see many of those left. Obviously, we don't know what the seeding is going to look like for either tournament, but you're looking at middle of the pack either way, so you're probably not going to get a quote unquote cupcake in your first round of the NCAA. So I don't know. It's very possible that we have seen the last of high minutes for Dane Danger this season. I think that defensively they have hurt
exposed.
him. Yeah, he's gotten exposed on defense. He cannot defend the Hunter Dickinsons. He will get destroyed on Sunday.
That's why he blocks so many shots. It's because he gets beat.
Yeah.
And then he has to try and block, which he's good.
Yeah.
He blocks. He's one of the best shot blockers on the team.
I mean, he's had a good season. Hunter was not going to be the matchup that he was going to have much success in. I mean, Hunter Dickinson is a really, really good post player in the Big Ten. And so this was never a game that I don't think Dane was going to see a lot of success with.
Yep. Dwayne, you guys nailed it a while back. You both agreed the Illini needed to play and not necessarily win. Some close games down the stretch. Well, that's exactly what happened down the stretch. That was my point.
Love hearing that I'm right. Love hearing that I'm right. It's true. It. I mean, they need these kind of tests. They haven't had them.
I missed this one. I should have put this up while we were talking about Dane. Dane was a little pouty on the bench, but he was getting out. Yes, exactly.
Correct.
More from Brian. Coleman is a whiny 8-year-old kid in a 6'11" college kid's body. I know. Coleman's so frustrating because he is so good. He could be so good. I think some of the tantrums were a little warranted. There was a foul. I think it was the second overtime, and there was a foul, and he got called on Hunter Dickinson that probably wasn't a foul. And then they were asking for the hook and hold. I didn't see a hook and hold. I just saw a flop from Hunter Dickinson, but. Back to Dwayne. These games are really just what the team needs going into the postseason. I agree. This is what you want March Madness to be because this is what the tournament is going to be. Update on the Illini women. Michael says girls up big at half. That is awesome. They're playing in the first round. No, I guess technically it's the what? Quarterfinals. Quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament against Rutgers in Minnesota. So that's good to hear. From Will, we need a producer. Terrence needs to get under control or learn how to slow it down when someone's under the basket. Yeah, he does. He gets a lot of charges.
Yep.
He does get a lot of charges.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot. He was going downhill, going straight to the basket, and then they were clearing out for him, and he had nowhere to go when the defense collapsed on him. And then it resulted in a turnover. That happened several times tonight.
Does Meyer get an NIL deal from Monster now? Of course, it's Tim that's going to get me going off on this. Of course, it's Tim.
Let's go, Craig. Let's hear about it. What are your thoughts?
I'm not going to
give us your thoughts. The people want to hear your thoughts on Matthew Meyer and his Monster Energy drinks.
No, they don't. Oh,
does he get an NIL deal?
Here we go. David Lucas, Michigan Twitter complaining about the refs. Oh my gosh, I hate them. I hate them so much.
They say the same thing about you.
They do.
You're public enemy number one after your tweet the other day.
I love it, man. It got more than 1 million impressions. My tweet got more than 1 million views. It's freaking awesome.
Proud of you.
Aaron, I rarely yell at my TV, but when I do, Hunter Dickinson is usually in the shot. Thank you. Thank you. Again, go to my Twitter.
Yep.
Larry Blackwood, 72 shots, 18 threes. I think this is how it should be. 1,000 million %. Here we go. Here's a question for us. Why do you think Goody did not play in either overtime? I think it's just the lineup out there was the lineup that should be out there. I don't remember who it was. Rodgers, Shannon, Meyer, Coleman, and RJ? Yeah. Yes. That's the lineup. That's another question. I had Aaron Bennett from WCIA texting me right after tip-off. This has to be the tallest starting five in Illinois basketball history. No one shorter than 6'6". Has to be the biggest starting lineup.
Yeah, they call it their small ball lineup. That makes no sense. I mean, the whole Goody thing. I mean, I love Luke Goody. But in those times, yeah. I mean, that was you play your hot hand, and the 5 that was on the court with Sincere mixed in there a little bit just for kind of energy defensive purposes. Luke Goody's not going to bring you a lot defensively necessarily. He's a hard worker, and he can hit a shot if he needs to. But what the way they were playing in the situation, he wasn't the guy. I don't think that's necessarily a knock on him or anything.
He played great early.
Huh? He did. He had great
on the floor, and I think he scored 3 points.
He played 12 minutes, 4 points, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. I mean, he was nice. He was good to have there tonight. But yeah, when it comes down crunch time, it's probably not going to be him on the floor.
Okay, resident bracketologist Logan Lee. My Red Pillow asks, is it possible for Illinois to get a 7 seed? Possible, yes. If they win the Big Ten tournament, they're probably 7 or 6.
Yes. They win the Big Ten tournament. If they certainly can be. I haven't done it in a week. It takes a while to do, so I try to do it on the weekends. I think if you win a couple games in the Big Ten tournament, I think you can maybe get yourself to a 7 seed. Maybe. But I think they're probably looking at like the 8 line at this point. Would be my guess. I don't think they can go any higher than a 7. Even if they win the Big Ten tournament. But, I mean, if they beat Purdue Sunday and then run the table, then maybe. I mean, maybe a 6 is not out of the question. So yes, I think it is possible to get a 7 seed.
Oh, Adam Bartensky. Meyer has a monster with him at the post-game press conference.
He's trying to get that NIL deal.
And I'm trying to hold it in right now.
Just let him have fun. He's a college kid. He could be doing worse things.
Kane Walters, let him live his life. This was the best overall effort from everybody in a long time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's certainly in the discussion.
Saw Robert Rosenthal said it was the best crowd of the season. I mean, it was senior night. After what Hunter Dickinson has said about Illinois fans the last couple of years, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I would say it's probably the best effort since November, since the Penn State debacle. There were some good games there early, but yeah, I thought it was great.
It was a fairly complete game for Illinois, all things considered.
I think we have a Michigan fan in here, Phil Parker's paw. I can't stomach Illinois, but thank you for putting the third piece.
Iowa fan.
Is that Iowa?
He's an Iowa fan.
Okay, Iowa. I can't stomach Illinois, but thank you for putting the third piece out of 4 of the puzzle for us, Iowa, to get second place in the Big Ten. Much love, Illinois. Yeah. Do you have the standings pulled up? I did not have the standings.
Not
I
at
know
the moment,
Purdue
they are going to be.
Purdue has now.
It's likely that they will finish second. Yes.
Purdue has now clinched the solo Big Ten regular season title because of Michigan's loss, and I believe had Rutgers beat Minnesota, there would have been a 7-way tie for second, with Michigan State a half game behind. So I don't know how that changes now. 6-way tie.
Right now, Iowa, Maryland, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Northwestern are all 11-8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Or did I say 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 teams are tied for second place right now.
Okay.
I do think it is likely. I think it's likely that Iowa will be the 2 seed if they beat Nebraska. I do think that is correct.
Yeah, I mean,
so good for them.
Yeah,
heck of a season. I would not have predicted Purdue, Iowa 1-2.
No,
but get that out of the way now.
I will say now the standings are looking more realistic now than when they had Northwestern, Maryland, and Rutgers at 2, 3, 4.
That is true. That is true.
I would have been more likely to predict what's happening now as opposed to that. So
yes.
Okay. There's nothing else in the chat. We've been going for 30 minutes. We didn't give an everyday guy. Do you want to give that to somebody before we let off here?
It's RJ and Ty probably. Yeah. I mean, the two guys obviously carried the scoring total, but I mean the effort that we got from those two in more or less reserve roles. I mean, RJ played more. They both played starters minutes at this point, but yeah, I mean, it's those two for sure.
What was the minute breakdown? I haven't looked at the minute breakdown.
Terrence 44, Coleman 49.
Go ahead.
Meyer 39, Ty 33, RJ 32, Sincere 22, Dane 17, and Luke Goody 12. So Coleman Hawkins was on the court for 49 minutes tonight.
Of the 50.
Of the 50.
So there's a clear 5 right there.
Yes. Yeah.
With Sincere being the 6th man, and then Dane and Goody just kind of throwing in because they both played less than 20. So, all right. Anything else?
No. Bring on Sunday. We'll just see what happens. I mean, I think we talked about, NCAA tournament seeding. I think I mentioned 7 or 8. I think are still very much in play here. In terms of Big Ten tournament seeding, still anybody's game. I don't know. I mean, the win tonight and the loss to Rutgers helps. Michigan not playing that last game is going to probably play a factor, but the game they aren't going to play is Minnesota at home, so can't totally fault that. But yeah, there's still, I think I had it figured out earlier. You could have finished second. That's not likely. Third, not likely. Fourth is probably not likely. I think you're looking at you said 7 or 8, right? In terms of Big Ten tournament seedings. I think that's probably the most likely. I think they could finish 6th.
I think they probably avoided the 9 tonight. So yeah. I think they'll probably be top half. But thanks for watching, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. Call me Bozo because of my hair. That's cool. Bozo's a clown, Craig. Remember Bozo the clown?
I remember Bozo the clown. 7, sending best wishes to Jaden. Yeah. Concussion, I think they said.
He was serious.
Yeah, stayed overnight in the hospital. So it has to be pretty serious.
I mean, the soundbite, the comment that Matt Meyer made during the
he said, "Who knows if he said we don't know if he'll ever play basketball again."
Yeah, they were like, he said we don't know if he'll be back this year. If he even plays basketball again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that seemed a little much, but I don't know. Yeah, hopefully he recovers, and would love to see him, but who knows.
We got Brian in here asking the questions that no one knows the answers to, but I will task you with it.
They don't. Nobody else in the Big Ten has been able to stop Zach Edey. But let me just say this about Purdue before we sign off, because we're going to play Purdue on Sunday. We'll probably lose to Purdue. That's to be expected. But Purdue at 24-5 and the number 5 team in the country.
Apparently they're down to Wisconsin right now. But
have you looked at their actual season?
No, but I do have a question for you.
Hold on. Let me just pull up Purdue's schedule because it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Yes, they had some big non-con wins early. They beat Gonzaga. They beat Duke. But their Big Ten wins, they have 12 of them, right? Or 15. What was it? 15. How many Big Ten wins? 15 wins in the Big Ten.
I think.
Their wins are Minnesota,
13.
Nebraska.
13, right? 13-5.
You're making me do math in my head now.
I believe they're 13-5.
13-5, yes. So they have 13 wins. Their wins in the Big Ten are Minnesota, Nebraska, Ohio State, Penn State, Nebraska, Michigan State, Minnesota. Then they finally beat Maryland, which was a good win for them. On the road at Michigan, but may not be a tournament team. What I'm getting at is that they have struggled against good teams. Just going to throw it out there. They're 24-5. I know they're going to win the Big Ten outright, and they're going to be a top 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. But they have lost games to Rutgers, to Indiana, to Northwestern, to Maryland, and to Indiana again. They have not beaten hardly anybody in the top quadrant of the Big Ten. Just going to throw it out there. So I wouldn't rule anything out on Sunday for Illinois fans.
So the question, this has got to be the last one because we're we're done after this.
Oh,
Is Zach
okay.
Edey good or is he big?
I've heard that question a lot lately. Who posed that? Was that Mark Titus? Is that a Mark Titus
I've
question?
seen a couple. I've seen it out there for a little
He's
bit.
both. I mean, the answer is both. I do think he is
Cop out.
good, but I think it's mostly just how tall he is. That's where
Yeah.
he's seeing his success. I don't know how you stop it. I think this stopping it will be try to stop their other shooters and limit
If he
that.
was 6'10" to 7 foot, would he be averaging 25 and 12 or whatever?
No, sir.
No.
Zero
So
chance.
he's big. He
He's
might
big.
average 17 and 8 or whatever, but that's
Still good.
It's still good, but that's not
no.
National Player of the Year. So I
Correct.
think he's big. Okay, that's what we are talking about, though. Purdue Sunday it'll be 12:30 Eastern, I believe, because my app says 11:30 and I'm in Central right now. So is that correct?
I thought it was just noon, but yeah, it sounds right. Yeah, 12:30 Eastern. Yes,
12:30 Eastern on Fox.
11:30
So
Central on Fox. Yes,
nationally televised game against Purdue, who at last update was losing to Wisconsin. They are losing to Wisconsin by 4 in the second half in Madison. All right, anything else, Logan Lee?
No. Goodbye.
All right, Illinois wins 91-87, double overtime over Michigan, now 20-10, and what are they? 11-8 in the Big Ten. For Logan, I'm Craig. We'll see you next time. Hopefully Sunday.
ILL.